Part 126. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1251. Fen Yingying was controlled by someone, so she chose to feed the imp with her own blood. She couldn't possibly lose all of this memory. Fen Yingying held her head in her hands, with a look of pain on her face. With the help of Cai Dai, the pain on her face slowly disappeared. She raised her head and looked at me, her eyes full of fear. I remembered some horrible things. I motioned for Fen Yingying to continue. Then, in that morgue, it's not that there are no corpses, but there are many. When Fen Yingying said this, her body couldn't stop shaking, and every pore on her body was telling her fear. President, he told me before that the underground morgue of the abandoned medical school has been sealed off and the bodies inside have been removed. But now, Fen Yingying said that there were many corpses in the underground morgue. I have always suspected that this underground morgue is probably the second corpse-raising place of Daemon. No matter what, I'm going to take a look. Thinking of this, I said to Fen Yingying, you don't have to take this matter to heart. Just have a good rest. You will forget all about these things after a while. Fen Yingying shook her head at me and said, no. This matter will never end. I asked doubtfully, why do you say that? Fen Yingying raised her eyes and looked at me, and said word for word, then, that little devil will definitely come back to me, it will eat me. Yes. How could I have forgotten this one? Fen Yingying used her own blood to worship the little ghost. But now, the little devil has taken shape and will definitely come back to bite Fen Yingying. This matter is somewhat troublesome. Fen Yingying added, that little devil should be in the underground morgue. Why are you so sure? Fen Yingying replied, because, I saw him in the underground morgue. Cai Dai whispered in my ear, I should have seen it when I lost my soul. I looked at Fen Yingying, lowered my head and pondered for a moment, then said, just pretend this never happened. I will go to the underground morgue to find out the truth. Fen Yingying opened her mouth and seemed a little hesitant. Do you have anything else to say? Fen Yingying hesitated for a while and then said, otherwise, let me go with you. I am familiar with the underground morgue, and it is very dangerous there. If you are not careful, you will get lost there. I looked at Fen Yingying's beautiful face and didn't know what to say for a moment. Fen Yingying is a true beauty. She is the eldest daughter of a wealthy family. She has been pampered since she was a child. If she is taken there, will she cause any trouble? Seeing my hesitation, Fen Yingying seemed to have made up her mind and said to me, Brother Lu, not only will I not hold you back, I will also help you. I thought about it again and decided to agree to Fen Yingying. After all, I don't know much about the underground charnel house and there are many unknown situations. I nodded and said, okay, you can rest for a day and I will take you there tomorrow. Fen Yingying hummed, and then was taken away by her father. I looked at Fen Yingying's leaving figure and sighed slightly. Miao Fengluan stepped forward and asked thoughtfully, Lu Su, are you okay? I'm fine. I actually wasn't too worried about the corpse-raising ground, but this dream brought me many mysteries, and these mysteries lingered in my mind like nightmares, lingering in my mind for a long time. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1252. Miao Fengluan cooked for me as usual. After eating, I went back to the room to rest. The next day, an unexpected person knocked on the door of Ji Yuntang. I opened the door and saw Miao Fengluan standing at the door. No, it's not Miao Fengluan, it's Princess Longji. Princess Longji took off her gorgeous fiery red dress and put on a casual outfit. Her jet black hair was tied into a ponytail, showing her purity and beauty. What? Since I'm here, are you asking me to come in and have a seat? Seeing me in a daze, Princess Longji asked with a smile. I quickly invited Princess Longji into the room, and at the same time, Miao Fengluan came out of the room. Princess Longji and Miao Fengluan looked at each other, both of them a little stunned. Miao Fengluan and Princess Longji stand together, giving people the feeling of looking into a mirror. Princess Longji was the first to come to her senses. She quickly came to Miao Fengluan with small steps, held Miao Fengluan's jade hand, and exclaimed, "Ah! How come you are so beautiful?" I rolled my eyes. Isn't this Princess Longji praising herself in disguise? At this time, Xiaohe walked out of the room sleepily. When he saw Princess Longji and Miao Fengluan, he was stunned on the spot. He stretched out his hand to rub his eyes and whispered in a low voice, "It must be I haven't woken up yet. I'm going to sleep for a while." With that said, I was about to return to the room, and I quickly stopped him. "Stop, I have something to ask you. Because it was too late last night, I didn't ask Xiaohe about Yan Long. I just wanted to ask today." Miao Fengluan looked at Princess Longji and felt an unprecedented sense of intimacy in her heart. You are. Princess Longji looked at Miao Fengluan with a smile and said, "Lusu should have told you about your life experience." Miao Fengluan nodded and hummed softly. "Just call me sister," Princess Longji said. When two people stand together, outsiders will definitely think that they are twin sisters. "Sister, I have something to tell you." Princess Longji pulled Miao Fengluan to enter the house. I quickly called Princess Longji aside and said to her, "Longji, Miao Fengluan has a simple and kind personality. I don't want her to step into the world I am in now. Can you understand?" Miao Fengluan's mother handed Miao Fengluan to me before she died. Although I cannot regard them as lovers, I would like to regard them as family members. Whether it's Miao Fengluan, Xiaohe, or Cai Dai, they are all just like family in my heart. Longji looked at me with a smile and said, "This is what you think in your heart, not what Fengluan thinks. Can you understand what I say?" I was slightly startled. How could I not understand what Longji said to me? What she meant was not to let my thoughts influence Miao Fengluan's thoughts. The path Miao Fengluan wants to take is her decision and I have no right to interfere. I nodded and said nothing more. Then, Longji pulled Miao Fengluan into the room. I glanced at Xiaohe standing next to me. Xiaohe was shocked by what I saw and asked, "Boss, why do you look at me like that? It's so weird." After a while, Cai Dai and I sat on the Eight Immortals chair, and Xiaohe stood in front of us like a prisoner. Just as I was about to speak, Cai Dai beat me to it and said, "Hey! Little Hiza! Are you hiding too deeply? Are you asking for a beating? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1253. Huh? Little bug. What are you talking about? Xiaohe looked at Cai Dai in confusion. When Cai Dai heard this, she jumped down from the Eight Immortals chair and came to Xiaohe. With Cai Dai's height, she could only reach Xiaohe's abdomen. Xiaohe looked down at Guess and said disdainfully, "Dwarf Winter Melon, what do you want to do?" Cai Dai was instantly irritated, and colorful lights flashed all over her body. After the colorful lights dissipated, Cai Dai changed into an adult appearance. As a result, her and Xiaohe's heights were almost equal. "I see you are itchy." As he spoke, he raised his fist and hit Xiaohe hard on the face. Xiaohe was instantly stunned. He looked at Cai Dai in disbelief and asked, "How dare you hit my handsome face? I will fight with you." In an instant, the lobby on the first floor of Ji Yuntang was in chaos. I stepped forward to stop him, but the fighting situation was too exciting, so I had no choice but to give up. 5 minutes later, Xiao He sat on the ground with an aggrieved face. Cai Dai crossed her arms and looked at him with disdain. You still want to fight with me? You deserve it. Xiao He was about to cry but had no tears, so he shouted at Cai Dai, you are cheating. You actually used poison. Kaidi rolled her eyes and said, I'll poison you to death. With that said, he sat back on the Eight Immortals chair and returned to his little girl appearance. I sighed slightly and said to Xiao He, why don't you have a long memory? You always deserve it. Xiao He's face was full of grievances. No matter whether it was a quarrel or a fight, Xiao He could not win against Cai Dai, which made him very uncomfortable. Let me ask you, what is your relationship with Yan Long? Hearing the word Yan Long, Xiao He was slightly startled and replied, he is my brother. The younger brother among younger brothers. I rolled my eyes and said, are you proud? Xiao He saw the expression on my face and said quickly, no, no, no. I'm not proud. I told Xiao He about Yan Long. After hearing this, Xiao He exclaimed, he dares to compete with you for Master Tianxian. I looked at Xiao He with a smile and asked, what do you want to do? Xiao He lowered his head for a moment and said, what can I do? I can't beat him, I can only watch. Cai Dai raised her fist, pretending to hit Xiao He. Xiao He said quickly, it's not my fault. I don't have a clear memory of my previous life. Otherwise, would I be able to come here? I would have been a god long ago. I frowned slightly. Xiao He was right, he was the Golden Crow, and if nothing happened, he would be a high-ranking god. But now it has fallen to this, and only Xiao He knows the reason. Xiao He continued, my memory is very vague. At first, I thought I was a bird, but as time went by, I learned something about my life experience, which is the Golden Crow. Now that I have transformed into a human body, some memories have been recovered. I must have made some mistakes in my previous life, and then was executed and reincarnated to become what I am now. I sighed slightly. I originally wanted to ask Xiao He for some useful information, but this guy didn't know anything about it, so I simply stopped asking. Long Ji and Miao Fengluan stayed in the room all day and did not come out at night. I had no choice but to go to the underground morgue first. The disappearance of my third uncle must be related to that underground morgue. I asked Fen Yingying yesterday about my third uncle, but he also said he didn't know. So now, only by following the clues can we find the whereabouts of third uncle. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1254. Just when I was about to leave to find Fen Yingying, Princess Long Ji and Miao Fengluan walked out of the room. When I saw the look in Miao Fengluan's eyes, I knew what path she had chosen. I sighed slightly. Princess Long Ji came to me and said, well, I can't go back now, I can only stay here with you. If she wants to stay here, I naturally have no problem. Okay, you can live here for the time being. I won't leave Tianfu City for the time being. At this time, Xiao He stuck his head out and asked, then, will she cook for us like Sister Fengluan? Princess Long Ji raised her eyebrows, raised her pink fist and hit Xiao He hard on the head. Cooking for you? What you think is beautiful. From today on, you will be my servant, bringing me tea and water. If you dare to say no, I will smash your head in. Xiao He must think that Princess Long Ji and Miao Fengluan look the same and have the same personality, but in fact, one is as passionate as fire, the other is as gentle as water. Cai Dai laughed wildly on the side, taunting Xiao He crazily. You deserve it. I'll make you mouth-watered. Xiao He was too angry to speak and could only stand aside aggrievedly. It's really frustrating for Jinwu to live like this. Princess Long Ji said to me, I originally wanted to say something to you, but you have something to do now. Let's wait until you come back. I nodded and asked, what kind of thing? Princess Longji replied, about Su Tianxian. I hummed and didn't ask any more questions. What I had to do now was to go to the underground charnel house and find the whereabouts of my third uncle. I came to Fen Yingying's home and took her to Tianfu University. On the way, Fen Yingying seemed very excited and kept chattering on the side. Brother Lu. Have you seen a ghost? Brother Lu. Do you know magic? It's the kind of talisman transformation, needing secrets, and Biu. Brother Lu. Aren't you very powerful? Are you proficient in subduing demons, catching ghosts, and exorcising evil spirits? I regret bringing Fen Yingying here. This girl is a talker and talks non-stop. Moreover, I am curious, this girl just experienced a ghost incident a few days ago, and is she fine now? Brother Lu. Brother Lu. Why don't you answer me? I sighed slightly and said, I have seen ghosts and can do magic. As for whether I am powerful or not, it depends on who I compare with. As soon as these words came out, Fen Yingying looked at me with eyes filled with little stars. Wow! That's awesome! Fen Yingying is a girl with a simple personality, carefree, heartless, and very curious about supernatural things. As the saying goes, curiosity killed the cat. If Fen Yingying wasn't curious, she wouldn't be manipulated into feeding the brat. In this way, Fen Yingying and I came to Tianfu University. The two of us took advantage of the darkness and came to the abandoned medical school. I looked around and didn't find anything unusual. The two of us climbed over the wall and entered. In the courtyard, there are overgrown weeds, old and new grasses intertwined together, scorched yellow with emerald green. Fen Yingying led me into the college hall and preached to me as she walked, this is my second time here, and I didn't go deep into the charnel house the first time. But I don't know why, but it felt like it was in my mind. Been here countless times. I replied, it's possible that you came here during the time when you lost your soul. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1255. At that time, wouldn't I be a ghost? I nodded and replied, that's right. Fen Yingying looked at me and said with some admiration, Brother Lu, you are so powerful. My soul has left my body, and you can still save me. I glanced at Fen Yingying and asked, aren't you afraid? Fen Yingying nodded repeatedly and replied, of course I'm scared. But, I'm fine now, too. This girl is the most heartless person I have ever seen. If ordinary people encountered this kind of thing, it would be strange not to be frightened to death, but she felt like nothing happened. I asked about the underground morgue. This underground morgue has been built for a long time and is quite large. The roads inside extend in all directions. If you are not careful, you will get lost and you will not be able to get out. Moreover, there are many legends about this charnel house on campus. This medical school has been abandoned for 7 or 8 years. Before it was abandoned, it was normal and nothing happened. But after it was abandoned, many paranormal enthusiasts came here to explore. Among them, one person even recorded a video. The video was normal at first, but after passing a staircase corner, countless black shadows appeared in front of us, and blood began to ooze from the wall. Have you seen that video? I asked. Fen Yingying nodded and said, of course I have seen it. It's so scary. What happened to that person? Fen Yingying replied, missing. I heard that the person seems to be in the morgue and has not come out. I stopped and looked Fen Yingying up and down. Fen Yingying was a little overwhelmed by my gaze. She asked tentatively, Brother Lu, what's wrong? You said, since the person who shot the video died in the morgue, how did the video leak out? As soon as these words came out, Fen Yingying was stunned on the spot, and then her delicate body trembled slightly and she hugged my arm. Qin, Brother Lu, don't scare me. I couldn't help but smile to myself. Isn't this girl afraid of anything? Why is she like this now? Don't worry, let me tease you. Fen Yingying was stunned again, looked me up and down, and immediately showed a look of realization. Brother Lu, I have to say that you are quite good at seducing girls. You know how to scare me in such a gloomy environment and then pick me up at the airport to take advantage of me, right? I smiled and said, don't get me wrong. It was you who took the initiative, not me. Besides, I have a wife. Ah. Fen Yingying asked in disbelief, Brother Lu, you look about the same age as me, and you already have a wife. I nodded and replied, yes. Oh well. But don't worry, since you and I are here, I will protect you. Fen Yingying nodded repeatedly. We continued walking towards the underground charnel house. As we walked, a rotten smell filled the air. The situation here is the same as what Fen Yingying said. There are many complicated passages, and the walls are peeling off, a scene of corruption. You take me to that place full of corpses. Fen Yingying nodded and said, okay, I still know the way, but there is still some distance, but why do I feel like someone is watching us around? I have long been aware of this feeling of being spied on, but the gaze disappears and appears, making it difficult to catch. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1256. Therefore, I can only pay attention to the surrounding situation, and if something happens, I can solve it as soon as possible. In order to reassure Fen Yingying, I said, you are overthinking it. Yes, really. I nodded and continued, you can rest assured that as long as I am by your side, nothing will happen to you. Fen Yingying said oh, and the two of us continued walking inside. Soon, Fen Yingying took me to a room. The room has no door. Inside the room, there is a platform for placing tools, and the room is surrounded by ceramic tiles. The first impression this room gave me was a place where autopsies were performed. The walls are covered with tiles for clarity, and there is a sink on the platform. Moreover, the faucet on the sink was still dripping, and the smell of blood filled the air. I stepped forward to check. It didn't matter. It made me frown instantly. The water dripping from the faucet turned out to be blood. When Fen Yingying saw this scene, her pretty face turned pale with fright, but she did not scream or ask me. This reaction made me very satisfied. At this moment, the sound of a door slamming suddenly came from behind. I turned around suddenly and ran out of the room, followed closely by Fen Yingying. I saw that the door of a room was slowly closing, which was very strange. Fen Yingying grabbed my hand a little harder. I comforted, don't be afraid. Fen Yingying nodded. This underground morgue is already extremely sinister, and it is very likely that it is the corpse-raising ground of the Taoist section. Therefore, any weird things that happen here are not enough. Fen Yingying and I continued to walk forward. Fen Yingying's hand holding the flashlight trembled slightly. Seeing this, I took the flashlight over. The light of the flashlight shone impartially on a wall, and a flash of scarlet caught my attention. A line of blood words appeared on that wall. The content of the blood word is, Xiao Su, save me. When I saw this line of blood words, my brain buzzed, and I was sure that my third uncle was here. Moreover, there are dangers. I stepped forward and touched the blood letter. The blood words had dried up and looked like they had been written for a long time. I took a deep breath and said to Fen Yingying, keep leading me. Fen Yingying noticed something was wrong with my mood, so she didn't ask any more questions and continued to lead the way. If the disappearance of the third uncle is really related to Taoism, then I don't mind doing what my grandfather once did. They slaughtered all the Dao sections. Although there are countless strong men in the Dao sect, I am not jealous. Even if it costs me my life, I will seek justice for my third uncle. While walking, Fen Yingying suddenly stopped and looked straight ahead with a horrified expression. I saw a figure lying on the ground directly in front of me. I frowned and stepped forward to check, only to see that it was a rotting and smelly corpse. Because the degree of decomposition was so high, I could no longer tell what this person looked like before. However, I found a video camera next to the body. I picked up the camera, fiddled with it, and turned it on. I rummaged through it and saw a video. I chose to open the video without any hesitation. Just as the video was playing, Fen Yingying on the side said with a trembling voice, "Lu, brother Lu, this is the video I told you about before." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1257. Are you sure? I asked. Fen Yingying nodded with certainty. I didn't expect that my unintentional words actually came true. The person who shot the video died in the underground morgue, but the video was left outside. This kind of thing is very strange. However, I speculate that there are only two possibilities for this situation. The first one is that evil spirits are causing trouble. The second one is the trouble caused by those people from Dao sect. I prefer the second possibility. Because if you want to raise corpses, you will definitely need a large number of corpses, and the corpses in the medical school are limited. This is the only way to attract supernatural enthusiasts, kill them, and then raise the corpses. Fen Yingying also said before that people in this school disappear every once in a while. To understand this, I looked at the camera screen. The screen was completely black and nothing could be seen. But at this moment, a bright light flashed across the screen, and then there was a picture. On the screen, there were two people standing in the corridor. One of them was holding something in his hand and watching, and the walls of the corridor where the two people were standing started to squirm. At this moment, a figure appeared at the end of the corridor in the room. The figure was hunched over and walking towards the two people on the screen step by step. Seeing this, I threw away the camera in my hand and turned to look at the other end of the corridor. As expected, a figure appeared at the other end of the corridor. A sneer twitched at the corner of my mouth. You dare to show this little trick in front of me? The moment the camera screen showed up, I saw everything. Here, there is a fierce ghost who wants to attack us. He wants to scare us before doing it. Suddenly, there was a rustling sound in my ears. I followed it and saw that the walls on both sides were crawling crazily. It looked like something was about to run out from inside. The next moment, there was only a crash, the entire wall peeled off instantly, and countless snakes fell from the wall. The number of venomous snakes is so large that it is impossible to measure them. They are densely packed all over the ground, squirming like crazy, like a bunch of maggots entangled together, disgusting and infiltrating. Immediately afterwards, the snakes all arched their bodies and pounced towards me and Fen Yingying. I waved my hand casually, and karma fire appeared out of thin air, forming a wall of fire in front of me. Those poisonous snakes hit the wall of fire and instantly turned into fly ash. I activated the pure lotus mark on the palm of my left hand, and holy white light condensed around me, transforming into the shape of a white lotus, which of course also enveloped Fen Yingying. The fire of karma has dissipated, but there are still many poisonous snakes on the ground. However, under the light of the pure lotus, they did not dare to step forward. I looked at the figure at the end of the corridor. I saw that the figure was only 4 or 5 meters away from us. Under the white light, I could see her appearance clearly. It was an old woman, with a stooped body and two big snakes, one black and one green, wrapped around her arms. Her hair exploded and stood up, and the skin on her face was wrinkled like bark. She looked at me with eyes full of cruel and vicious. This image reminds me of a monster named Snake Bone Po. Shan Haijing once described a place called Wuxian Kingdom. In this country, everyone can use witchcraft. Among them, there is one of the strongest wizards named Snake Goman, and his wife is Snake Bone Po. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1258. Most of the images of Snake Bone Woman are also holding two snakes in their hands, red on the left and green on the right. Snake Bone Woman likes to control these two snakes to attack humans. The old woman in front of me is neither a demon nor a human being. She must have practiced witchcraft and became like this. Snake Goo Woman looked at me, the corners of her mouth raised slightly, and she let out a sinister smile. Lu Su, I didn't expect you to actually find this place. As soon as these words came out, I knew the identity of Snake Goo Po. Taoist people. I looked at Snake Goo Granny coldly and asked, "Where is my third uncle?" Snake Bone Woman still looked at me and smiled sinisterly. "Your third uncle, GGG, I'm afraid he's dead now." Murderous intent flashed in my eyes. I cast Nine Eyes Heavenly Domain, and disappeared instantly. When I reappeared, I was already beside Snake Bone Woman. I held my right hand in the air, and Jingxiao was held in my hand. I swung my sword at Snake Bone Woman. I just heard a puff. Snake Bone Woman dodged without haste, and her right arm was cut off by me. There was no pain at all on Snake Bone Granny's face, but her smile became even more wild. At this moment, the snakes on the ground climbed up the broken arm of the Snake Bone Woman, and then entangled themselves together, transforming into a new arm again. Seeing this, I frowned slightly. "Boy! You want to kill me? You don't have the ability. You should die together with your third uncle." Two green and red venomous snakes jumped up from the ground, opened their bloody mouths towards me, and I swung my sword. He directly cut the two snakes in half, but the severed poisonous snakes actually merged into one again with the blood. Snake Bone Woman suddenly opened her mouth. The corners of her mouth were cracked, all the way to the base of her ears. Two sharp fangs caught my eye. Her head turned into a snake head in an instant. I picked up the 9 layers of thunder technique and struck it directly on Snake Bone Woman's body. I just heard the thunder and saw the flash of lightning, and the Snake Bone Woman's body was turned into a puddle of rotten flesh by me. But the next second, the scene in front of me finally made me realize how troublesome this Snake Bone Woman is. The rotten meat scattered everywhere was picked up by the snakes on the ground, and then quickly pieced together into a broken human body. These poisonous snakes were using their own bodies to recover. After a few struggles, the Snake Bone Woman appeared in front of me intact again. Su Tianxian is right. On the surface, this sect is a well-known and upright sect, but most of its members are heretics who practice evil arts. GGG, boy, why are you as useless as your third uncle? I took a deep breath, and my eyes became colder. I activated the soul-stealing blood hand, and scarlet blood spread from my right arm, covering the entire right arm at an extremely fast speed. Even the sky was stained with blood. Red. I cast the 9 layers of thunder technique, and blue lightning spread from my palm to the body of Jingxiao's sword. With the blessing of the blood of the soul-stealing blood hand, the blue lightning turned into blood-colored thunder and lightning. Without any hesitation, I slashed towards Snake Bone Woman. Snake Bone Woman didn't dodge, looking at me with a face full of teasing. Just when Jingxiao was about to touch her body, I changed my direction and slashed towards the green snake on the ground. Boom! The startling sky pierced the green snake's body, and the bloody thunder and lightning swallowed the green snake in an instant. Snake Bone Woman's expression changed drastically, and a miserable howl sounded from her mouth. Ah! Snake Bone Woman's body couldn't stop trembling. She looked at me in disbelief and asked, "How do you know where my soul is?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1259. Snakebone woman angered me with my third uncle's incident. And she did. But I didn't lose my mind. After just 2 fights, I have already figured out that the reason why any attack is ineffective against Snakebone woman is because she can transfer souls. Her body is made up of snakes. As long as she transfers her soul to another snake when I attack, she can survive. I looked at Snakebone woman coldly and asked, "Where is my third uncle?" Snakebone woman said in a somewhat spiteful tone, "Your third uncle is going to die." Ha ha ha. Your third uncle is going to die soon. Hearing these words, my heart burned with anger, and I said coldly, "If something happens to my third uncle, I will have your entire Taoist sect buried with him." The Snakebone woman's body collapsed, and her soul must be attached to these poisonous snakes. She wants to run. But how could I give her a chance to escape? Since she refuses to tell, then kill her. I cast 9 Eyes Heaven Realm and disappeared instantly. When I reappeared, I was already beside Fen Yingying. I protected her behind me, with a cold look on my face, and took a step forward. A cluster of blood-red flames appeared out of thin air at his feet. "Want to run? Let me see how you run." As soon as the words fell, the cluster of bloody flames instantly spread towards the surroundings with the force of a prairie fire. The intensity of the fire was jaw-dropping. In the blink of an eye, the entire corridor was covered in fire. And those poisonous snakes were also swallowed up by the bloody flames. I squeezed the art with both hands and used the 9-level thunder art, superimposing the power to the 4th level. I raised the Jingxiao in my hand and slashed it down. Bloody thunder and lightning burst through the air from the Jingxiao sword and swept across the entire corridor in an instant. In an instant. My eyes were covered in bloody light, and there was thunder in my ears. After the blood light dissipated, I looked around and saw that the poisonous snakes had turned into fly ash and disappeared. Suddenly, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed half of a venomous snake crawling towards a patch of ground. I disappeared from the spot, grabbed the broken snake in my hand, and used the ability of the soul-stealing blood hand to directly pull out the soul of the Snakebone woman. I pinched the Snakebone woman's neck. The spirit body of Snakebone woman is almost transparent. As long as I think about it, she can fly away right now. Snakebone woman's eyes looked horrified, and she prayed to me with difficulty, I'll tell you where my third uncle is. Please, let me go." My eyes flashed with murderous intent, and without any hesitation, I crushed her soul to pieces. I do care about my third uncle, but I can't find any useful information from Snakebone Granny. I have to explore this underground charnel house, and the third uncle is most likely in the place with the most corpses. I don't know why, but after I came back from Yaokai, I became a little cold-hearted. Wasn't the memory of that life suppressed? Why does it still affect me? Or is that just me? When Fen Yingying saw me standing there and not saying anything, she stepped forward and asked timidly, "Brother Lu, are you okay?" I suddenly came to my senses, smiled at Fen Yingying and said, "I'm fine." Fen Yingying took me away from here. She asked curiously, "Brother Lu, are you a god? Make thunder and lightning with your hands. Call fire out of thin air. You are too powerful." I smiled and said, "I'm not a god, I'm a human being just like you." Fen Yingying looked at me with eyes filled with little stars. I asked, "Where are the most corpses?" Fen Yingying replied, "Corpse Raising Pond. Sky Coffin." Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1260. The most indispensable thing in medical schools is corpses. Most of these corpses come from donations and remain unclaimed. However, in order to preserve these corpses, the medical school will choose to build a corpse pool. The cadaver pool is a formalin pool in which corpses are soaked and preserved. I looked at Fen Yingying and asked, "Have you been there?" Fen Yingying shook her head, nodded again, and replied, I forgot to, I should have been there." I nodded and did not continue to ask. Fen Yingying should have been here when she lost her soul. As for how it came to be here, I guess that someone was up to something, but I really can't figure out why Fen Yingying's soul came to the dream. Fen Yingying took me to the corpse-raising pond. The passages to this underground charnel house are really extending in all directions. If I were walking here alone, I would definitely get lost. Fortunately, I brought Fen Yingying here. After walking for about 5 minutes, there was suddenly a pungent smell of formalin in the air. Fen Yingying led me to a door and said, "Behind this door is the corpse pool, but, you have to be mentally prepared. The scene inside is, a bit scary." When I heard this, I shook my head helplessly and smiled bitterly. I, Lu Su, have never seen anything like this. How could I be frightened by a corpse pool? I pushed open the door, and the smell of formalin hit me. This smell made me unable to open my eyes. It took me a long time to get used to it. I took a look around and saw that the room was very large with a huge pool in the middle. I came to the pool and took a flashlight and shined it inside. The light of the flashlight illuminated a small part of the pool, and it was only this small part that made me frown. I saw that the pool was filled with formalin, and corpses were placed in various shapes in it. These corpses were male and female, old and young, with different shapes. Their skin was dark brown, not pale white. This is because the corpses, if soaked in formalin for a long time, the protein will be denatured, and the macroscopic appearance will be brown. It seems that my guess is correct. The underground morgue of this medical school is a corpse-raising place, and it is a man-made corpse-raising place. A corpse burial ground refers to a place where corpses buried there will not naturally decay and will turn into zombies over time. Without the formalin soaking, these corpses would have rotted and stunk. I have to find a way to get rid of these corpses before they turn into corpses. Burn with fire? I don't think that's possible, because formalin is very flammable, and I don't know if karma will cause combustion. Fen Yingying also stood beside the corpse pool and looked down. She gasped and said, "So many corpses." I thought to myself, haven't you been here before? Why are you so surprised? At this moment, Fen Yingying suddenly pointed at a corpse and said, "Brother Lu. Look, are the eyes of that corpse moving?" I looked along the corpse pointed by Fen Yingying. It was a female corpse floating at the top. The entire corpse pool was filled with corpses. There was one layer floating on the surface, and there should be many more underground in the middle. It was estimated that there were nearly 1,000 corpses. As for the female corpse, her eyes widened and she refused to rest in silence. I said, "Don't be too nervous. Although these corpses may transform into corpses, but..." Before I finished speaking, I saw the formalin in the corpse pool starting to bubble loudly, and the corpses turned over in unison.